Okay, just a quick video on the production, the mass production of some lanterns. I really love the look of these glowing lanterns in this reflection card here. Now, they don't have to be in a reflection card format, but those sure look pretty cool. And they look like they're really illuminated from the interior, which I was hoping to get from these designs right here. And I've created these paper lanterns and I put a ton of different tonal gradations in here with this open area down below to kind of represent that glowing candle or I guess, I don't know, whatever, tea light or something like that in these paper lantern scenarios here. But just stamped alone, I mean, they would be okay like that. But when I was designing them, I felt like I can create some additional tonal ranges and colors in here with colored pencils or pens. And I tested that out for the first time tonight, and I love the way that it worked out. It was the first time kind of doing this, oh, I don't know, this type of scenario here. So I'll show you how I did it. So this is just a cheap piece of yellow, I don't know if it's even cardstock, but it's like construction paper or something like that. So a yellow, I guess you can go with a brighter yellow. It's matte and uncoated, so it takes the colored pencils really well. I'm just using it because it happens to be the one that I had. I thought like a brighter canary yellow would have been better. But when I used this one, I thought, well, maybe this one's better because it looks like it's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit of a duller yellow, so it might look a little bit more illuminated. I don't know. I'll test out some other papers again. And I think these lanterns would be good in other color schemes too. So if I'm doing like a green color scheme, maybe I have like a green, emerald green light in the inside or something like that. Okay, so this is what I did here. On these, I'm going to work here. I'll just work on this one right here. So I added the yellow in here to make that area up in here a little bit more intense. I'll try to zoom in as far as I can. So I'm mass producing these so that I can just use them whenever I want. When I'm using them as a cutout, okay. I'll stamp them directly sometimes, like that. But see this down here, I'm leaving some of that area as is. I'll come in there a little bit just to create a little bit more of a transitioning intensity in here, I guess. So I'll go like this right here. If you get some of the colored pencil in there, it doesn't really matter. But this is kind of like an ochre pencil, so it shows up a little bit on top of the duller colored paper here. And you can skip some of these colors, and test out the other colors I'm going to use without the this yellow here. But, if you have some colored pencils and you have the colors, you might as well add them in. It could, potentially make things a little bit richer looking with some additional tones that are not only darker, but a little bit brighter in terms of intensity, okay? All right, so you can see the difference between these ones and these ones. These ones are a little bit more rich, I think, and illuminated, maybe, like that. And then we'll go into another tone. So you see I'm working it through a range of values here, okay? And that's how we get that kind of glowing look. And each one of these might be a little bit different than the other, which is, kind of nice. With me mass producing them like this, I don't know, some of them might, come out fairly similar, which is okay too. See, as I'm taking this up into that area up there again too, see that little tonal range up there. I'm kind of having to press a little bit harder with this one because I'm already coated with the yellow. So it's the paper's a little bit more sealed off. Let me see here. Let me go into these smaller ones too. Smaller ones, you have less space to work with, so try to retain a little bit of that illuminated base area of the lantern. Some of these I'm not going to use. They just stamped out too light. This paper is so absorbent, you have to kind of use a decent amount of ink. I tried StazOn. That came in a little bit too light, but maybe I just needed to re-ink it. This one was a Brilliance Black. All these other ones right here, I used a hybrid ink. It's a little bit, or it's a combination of dye-based ink and oil-based pigment ink, I believe. I think that's what they mean by hybrid. But like a VersaFine Clair should be pretty good too, something like that. Now I don't know how VersaFine Clair is going to work, like with the alcohol pen. On this type of paper, it might be locked in enough. But you see these three right here. You can see just how much they're glowing, just with one color on these lower ones. I'm going with the orange here. It might just be a little speck, because there's only that little tiny area like on the side of that lantern. This isn't exactly something that I, like doing so many at the same time. Maybe I won't do them all at the same time, but you know what I mean? But it is kind of nice having them done, though. What might be kind of interesting is if you do this and, I don't know, you print them out, copy them off onto like a sticker paper or something like that. And then you can just like cut them out and then just peel them right off and they're ready to stick onto your scene. All right, so here's some red now, okay? This is what's going to give it that kind of that little intensity. I'm not using it as much as the other colors, okay? Because it's darker and I want to have that nice range of tones. So if I use this over everything, then I won't have that range or as much of a range. Range of values, I guess, and color transitions between dark and light. Down here, you might use even less on the much smaller lanterns. Okay, so that is not quite that. Let me add on a little bit more here. I thought I would also do this before I forget what I did. If I don't do this for a couple weeks, sometimes it's like, if I only did it one time, it's like, how did I do that? So like these types of things are like the glow-in-the-dark sticker paper moons. I like kind of mass producing them so that I, don't have to do them each time. Okay, so that is that. But that alone, I didn't think, was quite what I thought these lanterns could look like. So I have my alcohol pen here. Nice yellow. Let's see. Like this. Okay. And what I did was I went in here and added this alcohol ink in here. Kind of like, roughly where I added the yellow. I guess maybe a little bit of the orange or something. You don't have to use it over everything. I usually work outside of the thing. I'm going to be cutting these out. So, you can do it outside of the lines here too if you want to. Doesn't matter, I guess. But see this, these alcohol pens, alcohol inks right over the top of the colored pencils are a pretty good combination. Yeah, it creates a little bit of extra glow and intensity, but don't those look kind of like they're glowing a little bit? And then one of the things I did at the tail end of this video too, just to add in that little extra touch, and again, it was just kind of an experiment, but I think it worked out pretty well, is, let's see here. You have your white pigment ink, okay? And we're not looking to go with a big saturated thick ball of white paint or anything like that. What you do is you take this, kind of fray the end, make sure you have kind of a soft tip right there. You don't want a blob of ink. Take some ink like this, and then right in the center there, let me see, let me do a couple of these, and you can see if you can see any kind of difference at all. So no, well, that one's a little bit white. Let me take off a little bit of that. But can you see the difference between these two right here? You know, that little bit of a, you know, more glowing center. Let's put this on all of them. A little bit less on the side. Like that, and you have these little glowing lantern zones, a little bit too white. If it's too white, just go, you know, color it over with a colored pencil or whatever. And you can go and you can tweak these things too, you know. It's like, let's have a little bit more red on this one or something like that. You can go back in and go right over the top of the alcohol inks. All right, so that's how you get these kind of glowing lanterns like that, okay? And it puts some nice lighting right into the scene on this metallic paper. You know, these yellow ones really, or gold metallic, these golden ones really take on a nice kind of three-dimensional look. You know, back in the landscape or something like that, or in a dark night scene or something. I think they would make a nice addition. Looks like, I don't know, like lawn ornaments or something like that. Which I think is pretty cool. Try this either. Here's a little bit of a acrylic paint pen. Use some of that. This one's yellow. Kind of, I'm putting some of this little scribbles into the orange and red area. So any kind of media that you think, you know, might work in terms of adding a little bit of a glowing tone, and you have this right here. Little glowing thing. So just stamped alone, not so great. With, you know, a couple little media additions on there, and I think you can add kind of a really nice essence of like a glowing lantern. So we'll try the same technique, I think, with the campfires like this. And there's that little fire right down there, and I think that would work out really well. Or we can just, you know, even if we don't stamp it on a separate piece of paper, whatever we stamp it on, a little bit of yellow colored pencil, yellow, yellow and gold maybe, and red. I guess, yeah, maybe red in the darker areas, and then some alcohol pens in there, and to really get that nice and rich and hopefully get a nice kind of working glow into the pieces. All right, so paper lanterns afloat like that. Oh, and if you didn't watch this video right here, this live stream right here, these shadows right down here, what I did was I stamped these lanterns straight onto the paper with StazOn ink, okay, because it'll stick and dry to the gold cardstock. And then what I did was I took this and I cut out this top portion right here, just with a scissor, and I took that and I placed it right on top where that goes within that. So here's the cutout right here, and this lower portion is the stamped area. So it's like you're stamping guides of where you want all these lanterns to go. If it's in this type of scenario right here with the reflection card. And I think it's a really good use of the lanterns because it really makes them look three-dimensional on top of this mirrored type of cardstock. So this one happens to be on the gold, but it should work really well on the silver as well. Okay, so anyways, thanks for watching. Hope it comes in handy. And if you get these new sets and you're kind of thinking, what, what do we do with these lanterns, add them into your landscape, and I think it could be really fun. These ones have the reflections down here, but you don't have to stamp it with the reflections, and you can have it on, as lawn ornament or as kind of some, what do you call them, luminaires, or whatever, like on each side of like a walkway or something like that, and I think that would be really dramatic. All right, thanks again.